By prevailing over obstacles and distractions, one may unfailingly arrive at his chosen goal or destination. Christopher Columbus. If your brain was like an iPhone, and it listed the hours of screen time, in a sense waking hours, how high would this hypothetical productivity meter be? You see, we're all busy. We have jobs, school, homework, extracurriculars, hobbies, and a myriad of other obligations which take place in the day. However, there are also moments of pause, what I like to call micro-intermissions. The minutes of walking between classes, sitting in your car at red lights, or even waiting 23 more seconds until your breakfast pops out of the toaster. You see, what do we do during the intermissions of our daily events? Do we go off into space with our mind blank? While rest for our brain is extremely important, and we should take time to relax with few things on our minds, we have to ask ourselves, are we truly in control of where our mind is led away to? Here are 2 steps to consider when striving to overcome the internal war of mental hurdles, especially in the case of adversarial interference. Number 1. Recognize the common distractions. When given a math problem, the first step is to always look at the directions. Additionally, there are often distractor multiple choice options which can be ruled out. In our lives, we must take a closer look and acknowledge that distractions are ever so apparent in today's world. First ask yourself, what am I being distracted by? One answer I get is memories. Internally reliving mess-ups, awkward moments in conversation, or even wishing to be in a different time than now. Additionally, there is a common tendency to mourn the passing of these times, as well as replaying and romanticizing them. These are the distractions of fond and the unbearable memories. For example, meet Sally. She unfortunately still thinks about her ex fairly often. She recognizes that he was terribly immature, egotistical, and unintelligent, logically, linguistically, and emotionally. In contrast to Sally, how can we be more emotionally secure, self-comforting, and logical? Sometimes we are in need for the love we're giving to the world to be matched, that our emotions overpower our rationality, and we waste our precious time, love, and attention with people who will never genuinely reciprocate that. In these moments, we have to reject our fantasies and find the power to look at the situation objectively and say goodbye. We must learn from the past and look forward to the future. Next, there are distractions of one's thoughts, of self-doubt and self-image. Have you ever had the tendency to think of yourself as lesser than beautiful, capable, or intelligent? If the answer is yes, then we've all been there. The truth of the matter is that the place we go when we allow those thoughts to tarry in our minds and entertain our thoughts on the stage of stupidity is not a place where peace can be felt. This can be recognized as an adversarial redirection. In the Screwtape Letters, C.S. Lewis uses satire to convey this idea from the perspective of Screwtape, a fictional demon training his nephew in doing the despicable. He states, "The enemy wants him to be so free from any bias in his own favor that he can rejoice in his own talents as frankly and gratefully as in his neighbor's talents. He wants each man in the long run to be able to recognize all creatures, even himself, as glorious and excellent things. You must try to exclude this reminder from the patient's consciousness at all costs." What is so beautifully witty is that, due to the perspective in which this satirical work is written, is that the enemy is God. This quote represents how we should rejoice in our talents and continue in charity. However, the adversary will constantly be trying to tear down our self-image. It is our job to reject those thoughts as soon as they arise, and remember our divine beauty. Furthermore, when focusing on others' character, sense of humor, intelligence, kindness, and wit, their inner beauty is highlighted. In doing this, we can realize the frivolousness of focusing on the distractions of hyperfixations of one's image. It's like a YouTube thumbnail. The image isn't what's most important. It may draw you in, however, the video and the meaning of the message is the whole reason why you're there. So don't be distracted by vibrant colors and funny emojis. On that note, in the Emoji Movie, okay, I know what you may be thinking, but hot take of the day, it's not actually that bad of a movie. I don't want to hear it. Okay, so the main emoji, Gene, he's struggling to find his true self and how he should appear in the world. The myriad of emotions he feels concerning his appearance, as well as finding out who he is ever so apparent in the plot. This idea of inner turmoil and worry about self-expression is normal in today's world. And by the end of the movie, Gene finally understands that he doesn't have to fit into the mold of strictly one emotion. He can freely be unique. Why should we stress about how we're perceived when everyone is doing the same? The secret is that nobody really cares. For me, one day I might want to wear a floral dress, and the next I'm going to wear Converse and a leather jacket. Does that change who I am? Heck no. Drop the labels, drop the judgment of others, and drop any insecurities based on something as fleeting as appearance. It is normal to feel inadequate at times. We all get those whispers of anxiety and fear. The next step we have to take is to end those whispers of worry and listen to them no longer. If we believe we aren't good enough and allow thoughts of discouragement to fester, we soon become plagued and poisoned by the opposition. Choose to say no, and remember what a light you are. Next on the list is technology. It is clear the wonders of technology. It aids us in communication, information, and even plays a role in saving lives with its efficiency in pressing a button to call 911. Despite this, technology can be, and has been, used as a tool for evil in much of society. I won't go too in depth, but it is obvious how much people rely on media for eliminating their worries. Many believe that they are erasing their struggles and getting peace out of scrolling through reels and blankly staring at the flashing lights of edits. While we get a temporary dopamine hit from the fast-paced music and combination of pictures, it numbs us, distracts, and soothes for seconds. When I notice myself doing this, I hear the voice in the back of my head saying, "What are you doing? Are you forgetting the long-lasting peace you feel every time you sit down, pray about, and write down a solution to your problems?" There are many forms of unstable crutches we use in order to distract ourselves from worries. Substances, media, addictions, these all repress our emotions deep below the surface, only to bounce right back up, resurfacing like an inflated beach ball, defying the opposition's efforts to stay below the pool's waterline. Be like that beach ball. Recognize and resist all distractions which steal your time and inevitably lead to your own misery. Number 2, reorganize. If you've ever watched the TV show Hoarders, you would know that it's about helping others clean their houses, which have become so excessively filthy, hyper-cluttered, and essentially impractical to live in. The first step is to assess and make a plan. The next is to get rid of all the trash and help people turn their houses into homes. How often do we think of our head as a home? Do we treat it as such? Cleanly, organized, and enjoyable to linger? Remember that no matter what the world says, no one is ever too far gone. We must treat ourselves correctly and lovingly. We have to stop the distractive thoughts of self-deprecation because words are powerful. Ugh, I look ugly. My fingers are weird. Ew, what's wrong with me? These words are harmful, not only to ourselves, but to the others hearing these things, possibly causing them to replicate this verbiage. In addition, it offends our divine Maker who created us in His image. A quote I love says, "When we ignore the distractions of the world and focus on Christ and His gospel, we are guaranteed success beyond what we can fully imagine and feel great joy." We are made perfectly in His image. We must remember to take care of ourselves physically and mentally. In psychology, there's a term known as cognitive restructuring, eliminating self-deprecating thoughts and working towards thinking positively. In order to make change, it all starts with our mindset and believing that we are capable. So here's your TF challenge, today through forever. Work towards analyzing when you get distracted throughout the day, and recognize thoughts which aren't helping you in becoming the person you want to be. Find peace in truth. Work on what's most important, and allow your thoughts to be focused, pure, and great, despite our society.